Hey, everybody, it's Jim Johnson here, the head coach at Contractor Coach Pro, with this week's episode of Contractor Radio. And Contractors Radio is designed to help you with the strategies for your business, to help you succeed out there in the field. And we have a special guest today that is not only pretty amazing at what he does for his company as a representative and really like all everything for CompanyCam as a face goes, but he's got a pretty good history too. School teacher, coach, all kinds of things like that. I understand he's a halfway decent basketball player, and he's got some pretty cool kids doing that kind of stuff. He sent me some videos of his kids playing basketball, and I was like, wow, man, I couldn't do that at that age. So that was pretty cool to see. Michael Gogan from CompanyCam, welcome aboard today to Contractor Radio.
Hey, thanks for having me, Jim. When you said you were wanted me on the show, I was super pumped, and so excited to be here and just chat with you for a little bit.
Yeah, that's kind of what we do here. We chat a little bit. We find out a little bit about you and maybe what makes you tick, and we also find out a little bit about your company and then why does it fit the strategy of contractors today. And CompanyCam, I have an affinity for you guys. I was one of the first guys in our industry to find out who you were, other than the company that was actually created from this tool. And when I saw it, I was like, "Oh my God, I'm so mad! I am so angry. That is so brilliant. Why didn't I think of it?" It was frustrating, but I was like, "Hey, that's a really cool tool." And literally, just about every customer I have uses CompanyCam. And I thought I wanted to get you to a broader audience out there. We have a lot of contractors that listen to this that aren't just roofing companies. They do a lot of different things. And so we thought we'd bring you on today and talk about why CompanyCam is such a great tool for our strategies when it comes not just to presentation, but so many other things that we do in our business. So first off, just give us a little background on you. Like, who's Michael Gogan?
Yeah, absolutely. So born and raised in Nebraska. I went to University of Nebraska, Kearney. Like you said, I went to school to be a teacher. I played a season of football and then was injured. And that injury so I grew up a coach's kid, and that injury, one of my offensive coordinator actually helped me get a volunteer coaching job there, close to Kearney. So I got into coaching there as a sophomore in college. Graduated, started teaching, coached football and basketball at my first school that I was at. Actually met my wife right before I got my first job, and she's actually a teacher as well. So she got a job in the same small town in Nebraska. We've since migrated to Lincoln. Have a 7 and a 4-year-old boy. Both they love their sports, and they are 100% boy through and through. Our house, we got built a new house, and you would never believe it because they play a lot of sports inside. Did a little entrepreneur venture there with a donut company for a couple years. Realized that as much as I love donuts, that wasn't my place I wanted to be, and then ended up by God's grace with CompanyCam, and been here for about 3.5 years now.
So how'd you get in with CompanyCam? What happened there? Was it like an interview, traditional type thing, or did somebody know you?
No, not at all. So I was the donut thing. I had a great general manager who was kind of running the day to day, which I was doing, and so I was starting to see that I could maybe free up some of my time. And a guy that I had played high school sports against and gotten to know decently well, was friends on Facebook, posted that CompanyCam was looking to start trying to sell CompanyCam. Like, they didn't have any salespeople yet. And I said, well, I wouldn't mind maybe trying to do that for a few hours a week. And they wanted somebody full time. And I said, I'll probably do 10 to 20 hours right away. And talked on the phone. They said, let's give it a shot. And I think it was either day 1 or day 2. I said, I can sell this because it truly works. And so I'll do this 40 hours. I can get my general manager to do the donuts. I'll do this, and the rest is history.
You didn't really quite know what you had until you started talking to contractors and showing them what it was, and they were going, wow, this is amazing?
Yeah, because the donut end of things, we do a ton of wholesale there, and so I, had those meetings where I'm trying to get into with a decision maker and pitching them on why you need our product, and I knew how difficult it was, and once I was getting to the decision maker in the contracting world, it was so easy to get them to check out the product and love the product. I was like, I can do this.
Yeah, that's one of the things I've noticed about this industry, and really kind of all contractors. It's still a little dark ages, and the technology is not the most important thing in the world to a lot of. They like hammers and screwdrivers and stuff like that. Keyboards and computers and cloud-based stuff isn't necessarily their bag of tricks, but they're starting to take hold of it at this point, and really have for the last 2 or 3 years. I have some experience on the software side of this
Yeah.
before this coaching thing with Acculinks, and talking to people in 2009 about putting everything on the cloud, and boy, you're going to be able to communicate. They're like, I don't understand that. I don't want anything off of my server. What are you talking about? You're going to break into my stuff. You're going to, and so today it's a little bit different. They're starting to see the value in it. Before we get into more about that, how did CompanyCam come about? What drove it? I know nobody really knows what it is yet, so maybe give it a little brief description, like the 50,000 foot view, and then what made it actually come about.
Yeah, absolutely. So we were born out of Lincoln, Nebraska here, and a forward-thinking roofing company. They were on top of their game in terms of knowing how important it is to document what's going on their job sites. They were taking pictures, taking notes, and they were trying to then, get those pictures from the field back to a central location, texting, emailing, digital cameras. They're bringing in the chips and uploading photos at the end of days. And it took a lost photo and one of the sons of the roofing company knowing that he had that photo somewhere and not being able to find it, for him to look for a solution that got all of his pictures, notes, and communication in one place. He didn't find anything that he felt would do that, and so hired a developer and created CompanyCam. So it was initially created for his family's roofing company, and then as it started going, organically got a few other people using it, and then I came into the picture when they said, I think we can start selling this to people.
Yeah, I can remember when you came on, because I was like their salesman before that. I was the guy
Yeah.
telling everybody about it, and so I was grateful and thankful that I wasn't doing as much that I could just say, "Call Mike, he's got it." Um, that's really a cool story. I love software that happens that way. This way where you go, that thing doesn't exist. I really need it. I see a need for it. I'm going to build it. I'm just building it for me. Like, all right, that's the way I'm going to do it. And somebody finds out about it, like, hey, could I use it? It just naturally, organically grows. And then it gets a little bit of a wave behind it, and it really kind of becomes this thing. And you guys are well on your way there. I mean, you were kind of like that startup thing, and now there was like this push, like, wow, man, this is really cool. And I see it just keeping on picking up steam, because now it's not just for roofing companies; it's for all kinds of contracting. Like, name a few of the contractors that use CompanyCam.
Yeah, so we've got HVAC, plumbing, electrical, landscaping, interior, remodelers. We've got GCs. We've got a large GC here in Nebraska that uses us. Uh, Really, anybody that's coming to your house or your place of business to fix anything, painters, we're a great tool for, because it's just so easy to use. So I think we've got 20 plus verticals that we're in.
Yeah, that's
Lot,
amazing.
lots of different
That's
contractors.
that is super cool. All right, before we go any further, I always like to ask our guests this. We like to know a little bit about you too, and so to this point, how old are you now, Mike? Can I ask you?
Yeah, I'm 34.
See, 34 years old. You're still just a kid in my world. So up to this point, what's been your greatest achievement? And not including getting married or kids. That's the easy stuff. We all know those are your greatest achievements. We'll make sure to tell your wife. Other than that, what's been your greatest achievement?
Yeah, so I think obviously wife and kids, that is that achievement, And I think that, if I go elsewhere, I would say making the decision to pivot from what I was doing into this life of entrepreneur and jumping into a startup company, that's really was my defining moment. Because as a kid, I was an entrepreneur. I was going out after I lived on a golf course. After league night and tournaments, I'm going out and I knew where people were losing golf balls, and I'm hunting for golf balls. I'm cleaning them up, and then I'm setting up a stand during the league night and tournaments and selling these golf balls right back to the guys that were losing them. I ended up with so many. I traded for my first set of golf clubs that I purchased myself, with golf balls. 1,400 golf balls got me a $700 set of golf clubs. So I was an entrepreneur at heart. I loved coaching. I grew up an educator's kid, and so I thought that was the route for me, was teaching, and I love teaching. I still am teaching all the time with what I do now, but where I said, hey, I want to go out and create my own destiny, do some of these things. So I would say that's probably my biggest achievement, because hopefully my wife and my kids see that and they say, yeah, we can go and chase things. We can, do. It wasn't an easy decision. It was kind of a scary decision to do it. And it's proven to be a great decision. So hopefully by me making that decision and completely pivoting what I was doing, my kids see it, my wife sees it, and they say, we can make, those scary decisions as well.
We're going to come back to that little piece right there. Let's talk a little bit about CompanyCam, but you had a lot there that I want to kind of dig into if I can.
Yeah.
There's a reason I like you. That we have a lot of similarities there that you were mentioning. So let's talk a little bit about CompanyCam. So This thing takes pictures, houses them centrally for a business to use in presentations to keep themselves out of trouble. Like, hey, we didn't do that. That was already there, that kind of stuff. What else does it do? Like, that's kind of real general high level thing, but what else does CompanyCam do for a contractor?
Well, there's no better timing than to be on contractor radio a couple days after. So Sunday, which would have been Thursday, 5 days ago, video went live. So you can now capture video in CompanyCam, which is really cool, because we've got ways to communicate with your clients. We've got a timeline feature that you can share to any stakeholder, property owner, homeowner, whoever it is, and you can say, hey, we're going to take some pictures. We're now going to take video, and we're going to keep you in the loop of what's going on your project. I think that if done correctly, that's going to be a really, really awesome tool, especially on projects that maybe are more than one day. You could give just a quick little 20-second recap video at the end of the day. Here you go, Mr. or Mrs. Homeowner. Leaves them with something that not many other contractors are doing, and gives them something to tell their friends about. If you're getting a pool installed, man, our contractor, look at this. He showed us this little video update of what's going on with the pool. So the timeline feature is a really cool feature. Like you said, keeping yourself out of trouble. There's so much value to that, because a lot of these, contractors are living on razor thin margins. It's like, hey, we've got to hit these numbers, and a cracked driveway or, a damaged garage door or something like that can take a profitable job and turn it, into the red in a hurry. And so, being able to document and have timestamped photos showing what the property looked like before you started doing any work, very, very valuable.
Yeah, like that broken window on your house. No, that was already there. Yeah. We didn't do that. I don't know. I know it was just a crack, so you may have missed it. But here's the picture. Here's the timestamp. We hadn't even been here yet. So I see a whole lot of value in that. I sit here and go, man, when I was a contractor, I wish CompanyCam was around. I think that thing would have saved me hundreds of thousands of dollars, and probably made me that much and more, just in being creative in the use of it. Like, one of the features that you have is you have this ability to share a link to whoever's home you're at and say, hey, while I'm doing my inspection or doing my thing, I'll be taking pictures. You can see them right at this URL as I do them. Now, is that also video? Like, could I do the video that way too if I want to? Like,
right
maybe
in there.
Minute-long video? Yeah, that's super. That is like, especially right now. I mean, with coronavirus and COVID and all the
100%.
stuff that's going on. Hey, Mrs. Jones, you don't have to worry about it. Have a seat on your couch. I'm not going to have to show you my phone or anything like that. I'm going to give you this link. You'll be able to see it as I go. There'll be explanations and everything with it, and then we'll reconvene whenever I get done with my inspection. For me, when it comes to being a contractor, it's all about being different. How do I gain an edge on my competition? I can't think of a better way at this point in time. Until everybody else is using CompanyCam, I've got this big, huge advantage. And then being creative and those type of things with how you use it will still give you an advantage for a very long time to come. What's the most creative way you've seen somebody use CompanyCam?
So I've got a couple. One is simple, but it just makes so much sense. They do either a quick little action shot in a neighborhood, or they'll wait till they get a job in a neighborhood complete and do a before and after. They thank those homeowners, but then they run a sponsored ad targeted at that neighborhood. And it really creates, especially if you're doing something on the exterior of a home, pool, deck, roof, siding, any of the landscaping, it almost creates that keeping up with the Joneses type of mentality. And you're targeting that neighborhood of, hey, thanks to Mr. and Mrs. Smith for letting us completely make over their home. Doesn't it look like a night and day difference? You have the before and after, and you run targeted ads just in that area. That's one that's super simple. I've got a contractor using those before and afters as postcards that he writes thank yous on. I think that's creative. But I think my biggest the winner has to be, I've got a contractor up in the Dakotas, and they take all of their trailers and they inventory exactly what's on the trailer, so that all times they should be able to tell you exactly what tools and equipment are in the trailer. Anytime they replace something, they take pictures of the new serial numbers, receipts that they have, all of that stuff. They tag it. So from like a creative, like we're saving ourselves with CompanyCam, that's a huge one. I don't know if the testimonial or the case study's live yet, but they actually had a trailer stolen and were able to recover like 90+% of all the tools on there just because they had it in CompanyCam, got it through the proper channel. So from a covering yourself, that's probably the most creative. From a sales perspective, we have project labels, and this is a new one. Contractor was telling me about, and he's like, man, 3 months of the year, we can't be doing any work. We're an exterior contractor. So what we do is anytime we're on a job site, if something is maybe going to need updated in the near future, we create a label with the year we think it will be needing to be done, and then space whatever project it is, windows, siding, gutters. And then we let the homeowner know, hey, we can do this today. You probably still have 2 or 3 years left on the life of it, so it's not a pressing thing. Try to get the sale today, but if we don't, we've already set that tone of we are not going to pressure you into it, but we're going to label it in CompanyCam. So then whenever that year, 2021, 2022 rolls around, we filter all of our projects, and there they are waiting for me to be able to say, oh, I need to call the Smiths because we told them maybe need to do their windows this year. Give them a call. You're setting your pipeline up with documentation you've already been doing.
Yeah, we actually have a contractor that we coach that does that. And he said he makes about 15% of his sales a year just off of that one little thing of naming those things and knowing to go back to them, because nobody else knows about that project and that it's going to need to be done. So he's kind of got first shot at it. That is as cool. Everything about this thing is just exciting to me from a contract. I keep putting myself in the contractor's perspective and going, hey man, how would I use this thing? There's some other things that it does. Annotation. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So, there's all sorts of apps out there where you can already download and mark up photos, or, you've got Snapchat and you can try to draw on them. We've got that all built into the app. So when you take a photo, you can go in, you can add drawings, numbers, text right on top of the photos. If used correctly, your sales guys can really create a blueprint for your installation team so they know exactly what they're walking into when they go out to do that job. You can add notes underneath of the photos as well. If you want to go in and make a little longer note, you can add paragraphs if you want on a photo describing what it is. Again, some of those annotations are really nice when trying to get a sale. I can go in and I can annotate something and say, hey, this rose bush is, it's really important. Let's make sure that we, take these steps to properly protect it. Just a really nice thing that you can do. And you can, Mrs. Smith says, watch out. Here you go. Look at this, Mrs. Smith. I made notes for our installation team. They're going to see these. They're going to make sure that we don't do any damage to that rose bush. So you can sell with it. You can inform your installation team. Lots of really nice things you can do with those annotations.
Yeah, one of the ones I saw that I thought was like ingenious. It was a mason chimney on a house, downslope, right? It's not up near the top, it's downslope. And there was no cricket on it. And those guys that are roofers know what a cricket is. And there was no cricket on it. And he drew a little drawing of what the cricket would look like. He used that to sell a cricket to that homeowner, and then also used it with the crew to give the description of what needed to be done. I thought that was brilliant.
It was.
It was just like, here's an issue, there's a problem, this is why you have a leak here, and this is what we need to do to resolve it. And they could see, like telling somebody what a cricket is, they have no idea. You might have to go look up a picture somewhere else, which I'm assuming you could probably do in CompanyCam. I don't know. Can I do a search for cricket and pull up pictures of crickets?
Yeah, absolutely. So I could, any cricket that I've ever installed, I could tag that cricket and then I could pull those up. So now, yeah, dead on. So I've got the homeowner. I say, this is what we're going to install. My drawing may not be the greatest. Quick filter. Here's one we've actually installed. I don't know that I even have a contractor doing this, but I would make sure that I had everything cataloged in CompanyCam with at least one tag of everything we could possibly do to your roof, just so we can go and show, here's one we've actually done. I can do it with my shingle colors, siding colors, window types. Here it is in a catalog, but here it is actually on someone's house and we did it.
Yeah, so I don't have to go and like create 100 different albums on my phone and try and remember which one's where and what all that other good stuff. Yeah, that's it's just so much benefit to what technology can do for a contractor. What else should we know about CompanyCam? Like, what are we missing? Is there anything like some great wisdom with CompanyCam that I haven't hit on yet?
Yeah, I mean, the tagging, like you just said, I think is a very valuable thing. We talked about covering your backside there earlier. I would be tagging pre-existing damage on every job. Really, get that into your process of, guys, we're there to fix a problem, but let's look at the full picture of what's going on this property so that we don't miss damage that we're maybe not going to fix, but that we don't want to have to pay for fixing because we didn't do. So tagging is huge. I talked a little bit about those before and afters.
Oh, can we dig in there for just a second?
Yeah, let's dig in.
Because I don't know if you're listening to this on the podcast, I don't know if you can picture it in your mind what that looks like, but it's not like two pictures side by side like this before and this after. It's one picture of the home that's superimposed over each other. And you can actually slide that as much as you want to, I think, right?
Yep.
And you can make it a curved line or a straight line. And half of the house is the before and half of the house is the after. So you can really see it all in one picture. And I think in the app, I could actually show it to a homeowner and slide that thing back and forth. Is that the way that works?
Yep. And I've got my logo right there on there. So when I say this is the before and after, so essentially I can move, when you're talking sliding, I can move that picture around to where I get that exact same shot. So, I can see the ridge, and that ridge goes from the old to the new in the picture, and it looks like one seamless shot. There it is. My logo is right there on that. I tell every contractor, you need to be you're already taking those pictures. We make it so easy to get them together that you need to be doing before and afters on every job you complete.
Yeah, like I'm going to bet that's the stuff to differentiate yourself, right? Like, how do I set myself apart? I know those guys over there aren't doing it. They're just too lazy. They're not going to take the time to do that stuff to make sure they take a picture from the same spot. And so I'm going to, and I'm going to have a tool that nobody else does. And I can post all over Facebook and show how much we can make over a home. And pictures are worth, they say it all the time, worth 1,000 words, sometimes even more. So I think that would be something that would be a massive thing I would push if I was the owner of a company and I was going to invest in CompanyCam. Speaking of investing in CompanyCam, that's one of the other things that makes it one of my favorites. It's the most affordable app out there in the world that probably makes you the most money. Its return on investment far outweighs anything else that I've seen. What are we doing nowadays? I don't know what you're charging exactly at this point. Where are we at with that?
Yeah, so we are with video. We've got some really cool stuff going. We've rolled out what we call freemium. There, I won't get too into the weeds on what freemium is,
I
but
like the first four
basically,
letters.
yeah, absolutely, and that's what it is. We give CompanyCam for free for a certain number of users and a certain number of projects because we know that if you use it, you're gonna see the value in it. Once you decide, hey, I want to go to that pro tier of CompanyCam, we add in the video, we add in all of our integration partners. That tier is $19 a user. It's super easy. There's no contract with it. There's no, I call them the I gotcha fees of, well, it was $19, but now you want to tie it to your job Nimbus, so it's $24. Oh, you want to tie it to Hover as well? It's 30. No, it's $19 a user, no contract. Add and subtract your users as you need to. We prorate everything, so we try to keep our pricing as simple as the app is to use. So, $19 a user. If they want to go to companycam.com/CCP, I think they'll find some nice savings there as well.
Yeah, we got a little special deal for everybody. We'll put that in the link with this podcast. So if you're listening to podcasts, go check the link out. It'll be in there, and you can get hooked up with CompanyCam there. So you mentioned a couple things earlier in our conversation, more about you than CompanyCam, and this entrepreneurial thing, right? Like, and that you were kind of wired for that. I was the same kid, like this. Every time there was a contest, like you're selling magazines or candy or whatever it was like I got to go do that. And it was not about the selling part of it or whatever I would get out of it or any of that kind of like the reward. It was like winning. Like somebody is going to sell the most. Who's going to be the one that sells the most? Then I got into mowing lawns. My neighbor kind of talked me into it and I said, hey, if you mow my lawn, I'll pay you and I'll pay you in this motorcycle. I wanted that motorcycle really bad. And he knew my parents didn't want me to have a motorcycle. So he said, earn it yourself. And then they can't say much about it. He was an instigator. And so I mowed his lawn for the entire summer. Very first time I mowed his lawn, it was like complete failure. He took me around to all the places where I missed a blade of grass or I didn't trim this right or clean out his landscaping, pulled out weeds. It was a lot more than mowing a lawn. It was like super detailed. And so I got about halfway through the summer. He's like, have you thought about asking any of the other neighbors? And I said, yeah, I haven't really. I just kind of after that motorcycle. He says, I don't know. Do you like money? I said, yeah, I like money. That's great. It's really neat stuff. I can do lots of cool things with it. He's like, well, maybe you should go ask a few neighbors. And sure enough, I did. I asked a bunch of neighbors. And it went on from there and there. And I ended up having quite a good little business going. And my second year, I was 15 years old. And I had more than I could do. And he goes, what are you going to do about that? And I said, well, I guess I got to hire somebody. He goes, well, what about those jobs that you couldn't get to? And I'm like, what are you talking about? He goes, well, I got all these commercial properties. You could come mow those. I'm like, well, yeah, that'd be great, but I can't get there. I'm 15 years old. He goes, well, I would solve the problem. I'm like, okay, well, how do I? Oh, ask somebody that's 16 years old if they want to come to work for me. Sure enough, found a guy, had a truck. This was 16 years old. And I said, hey, I got a job for you. I bought all the trailer and equipment and everything. And we ended up growing that thing into something pretty significant that I actually sold at the end of my senior year. And it was, he saw that in me. He saw that entrepreneurial like spirit in me. And an entrepreneurial spirit is about taking risk. And so what made you take the risk? That's the thing. Like why do we take those risks as entrepreneurs when some people don't?
Yeah, I think it comes down to, when you talk about winning, I think entrepreneurs at the end of the day, they want to achieve, like, the money and those things are great, but you want to achieve something more than just that. I think probably the defining moment for when I decided I needed to take the risk. I didn't take the risk at this time. Was I was an athletic director, and the school I got the job at, I was first year, and the wrestling team was great. And the wrestling tournament, I think, had 7 other teams involved with it. And I said, man, that's kind of cool, but this is our invite. We only have 7 other teams. They're all local. And the school I'd come from was a huge wrestling powerhouse, and they were about 3.5 hours away from this new school. And I said, well, they'll travel. Let me see if I can get them in. And then, one thing led to another. Next thing you know, we're hosting a 16-team wrestling tournament. We got schools from all over the state coming to it. And it was a ton of work, and hospitality room went from this little thing to now I've got to throw a huge hospitality room. The concession stand had to be completely different. I need more ticket takers, referees. And at the end of the day, I said, man, that was a ton of work. I was pumped that we did it, but my paycheck didn't change at all. Like, the number of spectators and entry fees, like, it was a big spectacle. And I said, I want to do that, but I want to do that somewhere where when I do this, I control my own destiny, both from a financial and from hey, let's see what I can do for this company. Did the donuts for a little bit, and then CompanyCam was just such a perfect fit right away. I got an uncle he's indirectly in contracting. He works to protect companies from OSHA with safety programs, those kind of things. And so I ran the idea by him just because he was probably my closest connection to the contracting world. I'm not a contractor at all. And he's like, man, this thing's got a lot of value to it just from a safety perspective. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to give this a shot. And, now it's like, what can I do for this company? Like, where can we go with the business development of this company? And so, yeah, I think it's the winning of it is like, just that satisfaction of saying, like, man, I had a hand in something pretty special.
What's the culture like at CompanyCam?
It's pretty awesome. So I'm still coming down to the office, mainly because my wife's a saint and she's teaching, and I've got a 7-year-old that's in first grade, and I've got a 4-year-old that's into everything. He's not in school yet. And so for me to be, get anything accomplished, I come down here, but the office is empty right now. Everyone's working from home, and it's almost like depressing being here because, usually you can just make the rounds and everybody's got, everybody's a little obviously different, but just such a close knit group. And, I probably get more accomplished because people aren't stopping in to chat. But that camaraderie and that friendship it's so valuable. And very close company. I think I was employee 8 or 9, and I think we're pushing 50 now. So
Wow, 50 really?
We're growing.
Man, I didn't realize that's awesome. I get giddy every time I think about it because I'm like, man, this was just a really cool idea. So, from the leadership of CompanyCam, what are they trying to accomplish? What's the goal?
Our ultimate goal, and this has been that way since I came on, is we want to give contractors more time at home with their family. So when you talk culture, family first. It's always been the motto. We've got unlimited time off. If you need to go do something with your family, you go do that with your family. And that, you see that in our objective as well. Like, you do whatever you want with the extra time, but we want to save people time. We want to give people more time in their day to go home with their kids, to spend time with their wives or husbands. If you don't have those things, you want to go knock an extra hour of doors. Hey, you're going to make more money, and that's going to be great. But overall, the objective is finding ways to make companies more efficient so that they can spend more time at home.
That's That's really cool. I like that. Like I could do something else with that, but your focus is that. Like we want you to spend more time with your family. That's pretty powerful, man. That's awesome. So from everything that you've told me to this point, entrepreneur, yeah, I get that. Like you knew that you wanted to take risks, try stuff. Yeah, you had a few different things that you did. The sales side of it isn't necessarily entrepreneur. I know that there's some entrepreneurial instinct to salespeople and that kind of stuff, but from a skill and ability and that kind of stuff, did it come natural? Is it something where you're still learning? Are you studying it and getting better at it? Like, how's that going for you?
Um, yeah, like I'm studying from afar. There's people that you being one of them that I see be successful, and I see, hey, what are these people doing that makes them successful at their craft? And so I'm definitely always, I think that's the athlete in me of, you know, hey, that move was pretty cool. I'm not going to get beat by that move again, but I'm actually going to learn how to put that move into my arsenal. So I'm always trying to, hone my craft. I don't see myself as a salesperson because to me, if I'm selling you something, it's maybe something you don't need or don't necessarily want. I just try to build relationships with people, and I'm fortunate to be working for a company that's got an awesome product that contractors need it. And so just building those relationships, that's I don't know. I just don't see myself as a salesperson. Like I've always just been I want to find solutions to things. And I mean, the first cell phone I owned, Jim, my parents were completely against buying me a cell phone. And guy that ran the golf course that I lived on, he had an old Motorola flip phone, and he was upgrading to a newer cell phone. And I said, man, I'd love to get that. My parents, they won't let me buy one. I know for a fact. He's like, well, you can earn it. I said, well, how do I do that? And he said, I got a lot of numbers stored in this cell phone. You transfer those over to the new phone. Now, this was before you could just plug them in and
Yeah.
at Best Buy, and they transferred over. So I spent hours plugging in all of his contacts into his new cell phone. He's like, hey, do you now own a cell phone? And so I was like, Mom, I didn't pay for it. He gave it to me. So that was my first cell phone. So, for me, I solved a problem that he had. He had the need of getting those numbers transferred over, and I solved it for him. And that's kind of what I look at CompanyCam as too.
That's how every salesperson should look at sales, is that I have a problem that I can help you solve and it fits you. And I really believe in it. That's the thing I've noticed about you on this. And I've known about you from the very beginning. You really believe that CompanyCam is a thing that will solve problems that far outweigh the cost of it. And it's literally like a no-brainer. Like, what? I can't believe when somebody says no, because you believe in it that strongly. I think that's the core of being a good salesperson, is having this thing, whatever that thing is, that you 100% believe in is the best thing for whoever your client may be. I have a question.
Yeah.
This guy that was on the golf course that gave you the phone, was it a nice golf course?
It's a nice golf course. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have a big house?
He's got a big house. Yeah.
Did you keep those contacts?
I know the guy pretty well. I could probably get those contacts. Yeah.
Would be like, those might be valuable contacts. That would have been my first thought when he said, transfer these contacts. No problem. I'm going to be writing them down.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he was the same guy that I traded 1,400 golf balls for a set of Titleist irons. Like, and I held on to those irons for so long just because I knew what it took for me to get those irons. Like I got those as a freshman in high school, and I didn't get a new set of golf clubs until I got back from my honeymoon. So
remember
10 years I use that.
Remember that with your own kids. Like we can be pretty rough sometimes when we get successful and we're like, hey, okay, we just give you whatever. I'll make them earn it, man. They will value it way, way more. All right. Last question.
Yeah.
We've kept you long enough. It's after hours here too. All of us have a limited amount of time. We all know that, right? And so at some point, we're not going to be part of this planet anymore. And what do you want people to think about when they remember Michael Gogan?
Whew. Um, I'm at the end of the day, like at my core, I'm a problem solver. I'm an educator, and I hope that people look back and they say, you know, he was always willing to lend a hand in terms of solving problems, helping educate. That's really why I love what I'm doing right now is I get to talk to awesome people and say, you know what, you guys are crushing it. What if you tried this? Just always trying to make things better, like in any capacity. Like that's just my nature. At my core, I'm an educator. I'm a coach, and I'm always going to be that. And so I try to just make that fit in with whatever I'm doing. Um, I the athlete in me, I would hope nobody would ever say like, if he would have just tried a little harder, if he'd have just put a little bit more in, he could have sold a lot more company cam. Like I don't want to go to my grave ever having that like thought, even in my own head of like, maybe I could have got one more person to sign up for a trial if I would have done this. So lot, and I know that was a lot to unpack there, but
No, it's cool,
I would
man.
say,
That's a unique answer. Not bad or good. It's just different, and you have a different this problem solving side of things. I thought was, man, that was really good. Like, I would be cool with being remembered that way. Like, hey, man, that guy solved a lot of problems for me. I'd be like, hey, that's enough. It's all about legacy,
yeah,
right?
well, because yeah, I mean, like I think of some of my best relationships and friendships that I have, and like I want to be somebody that you're willing to turn to and say, "What do you think?" And like, I try to be an internal optimist, but I'm not gonna blow smoke, like I'm gonna give a shout out to my good friend, your good friend Troy Clymer. When this whole COVID thing started, we had about a 2-hour conversation one Sunday morning, and he was not sure what was going on, and I was like, man, you're one of the best leaders I know. Your people are going to be so good working from home. Your company is going to be in such great shape. And I didn't just tell him that to tell him that. Like I truly believed that Troy Clymer, you're a great leader. Your people are going to be just fine. And here we are 2 months into this mess, and his company's just fine. His people are doing awesome. And they're working remote, So like I want to be that person that people look to say, hey, I need some advice, or what do you think here? And know that I'm going to give them a real answer.
Yeah, the guys that are athletes, and if they had any success, I don't mean you're an athlete if you just played a sport in high school. You're an athlete if you were one of the good players on the team. You were one of the ones that moved forward. You moved into varsity. You moved into playing college and those type of things. Those kind of guys, they don't quit. They don't like something gets put in their way. They figure it out in one way or the other. That dude's bigger than me. That guy's better than me. He's going to run me over. Well, I'm going to do this instead. I'm not going to let that happen. And it's just something about how we are wired, I guess. It was one of my things. Like okay, that guy's throwing a pitch I've never hit before in my entire life. I've never, ever seen a knuckleball in my entire life. I know I'm going to go up against this guy 2 days from now. The only thing I did for 2 straight days was hit knuckleballs over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. Sure enough, went 2 for 3 on it. But I'd never seen one until that. That's the difference, is going, hey, I got a problem coming up. How am I going to solve it? And it's either a lot of hard work or you pivot, which is what we've had to do in this particular situation for contractors and for service providers just like us. We've had to change the way we do business instead of just not doing business. That's not acceptable.
I love the pivot, analogy there. Cause when I was thinking about that, I was like, I didn't really quit sports. And then I was like, well, I did do track in 8th grade. And, my dad was a state champion, 400, 800 meter runner. Like, he was phenomenal. I had a football coach that thought I could throw the discus really well. As an eighth grader, I threw the shot put further than I threw the discus. I just never could get that disc to spin like it's supposed to out of the release. And my pivot was like, hey, I know I can be good at something. Maybe track's not my thing. Maybe it could have been my thing. I don't know. But I ended up playing in the state tournament in golf because I played golf in high school. I said, so my pivot was, you know what, track wasn't my thing in eighth grade. I'm not going to just not do something in the spring, but I have to pick a sport. And all right, I'm going to get as good at golf as I can possibly get.
That is what a pivot is. It doesn't mean that you're necessarily going to do the same thing and pivot in that thing. It might be a complete pivot to something else because you have to, because you're required to. There's not an option to just go, I quit. Okay, this has been cool. So I got a couple more questions. Is that okay?
Okay. Yeah.
Who's your favorite football player?
Whew. Current favorite football player. I'm a Chiefs fan. I got to go Patty Mahomes.
That's a good safe pick.
Just the way he carries him. I mean, there's something about me that really, really likes Travis Kelce as well. Growing up, I was a huge Randy Moss fan. I like the guys that do stuff that no one else is doing. And I think all three of those football players, I mean, nobody's doing what Patty Mahomes is doing. I'd be hard-pressed to find somebody that plays tight end position like Kelce, and then obviously Moss was. So.
Yeah, Moss he is amazing. Unbelievable. We actually lived in Minneapolis while he was with the Vikings. So.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, we got to go see him play. It was pretty amazing stuff. Hey, Michael, I'm going to let you go, man. Really appreciate your time with us today. Great interview. Really awesome job.
Appreciate it.
Keep doing more of these. I know you do a deal called Talk About It. I'm ready. You just tell me when. We'll figure it out, and we'll hop on and I'll join you. All the links for CompanyCam, Michael Gogan's contact information will be in the description for the podcast. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today with Contractor Radio. And Michael, thank you for being our special guest.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Jim.
All right. We'll talk to you later, man. Have a good one. And don't go Huskers. Go Badgers.
Oh, go Big Red always.